على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجه. Let's start with Surah Shams. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Was-Sams was-Duhaha. Wal-Qamar iza talaha. Wan-Nahar iza jallaha. Wal-Layli iza yagsaha. Was-Sama'i wa ma banaha. Wal-Ardi wa ma tahaha. Wa nafsin wa ma sawwaha. Falhamaha fujuraha wa taqwaha. Qad aflaha man zakkaha. Wa qad khaba man dassaha. كذبت ثمود بتقواها إذ انبعث أشقاها فقال لهم رسول الله ناقة الله وسقياها فكذبوا وفعقروها فدمدم عليهم ربهم بذنبهم فسواها ولا يخاف عقباها. صدق الله العلي العظيم. So alhamdulillah, assalamu alaikum everyone. Alhamdulillah, we have a Sheikh Fauzi here who is here to answer any fiqh questions that we have regarding Qasr Namaz and Roza, regarding traveling. A lot of people face the issues, and we just want everybody to do their Namaz and Roza correctly and not do it extra or not do it less. So inshallah, I'm going to welcome him. Please recite loud salawat for him.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الخلق أجمعين حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين واللعن الدائم على أعدائهم إلى قيام يوم الدين. First of all, that's been one of the important things for all the believers, it's wajib, it's obligatory for them to know the problem that they are faced with every day. One of these problems that's been prayer. You will pray every day 5 times. Then everything that you are faced with in your prayer, you have to learn it. Because some of these, maybe it makes your prayer void. Then later on, if you are new that your prayer is void, then you don't have any excuse, and you have to repeat all your prayer. Why? Because you have a chance to learn it, but you are what? You don't care. Then one of the important things, especially for you, when we have to pray short prayer and when we have to pray what? Complete prayer, full prayer. To pray short prayer and complete prayer, is it optional things or it's obligatory? Wajib. That's mean when you are reach, let's say, any city and you don't know if you are pray complete or short prayer. Is it optional? That's mean you can pray complete or you can pray short, or it's wajib? What do you think? It's wajib. It's obligatory. What's that mean? It's obligatory. That's mean if you know that you are in trip and the wajib for you to pray complete prayer and you pray short prayer, then you have to return it. Then they have to do it again. Same thing if your wajib is to pray complete and you are pray short prayer, then you have what? To repeat it again. Then it's very important, brother. You have to know, especially for those who live outside Atlanta city. First of all, we have to have like some introduction. One of these things, how many, the distance that you have to drive in your trip to be or to pray short prayer. According to the riwayat of Ahl al-Bayt and the opinion of all our ulama, it's 44 kilometers.
44 kilometers
44 kilometers.
from the house or from the...
This is the second question.
Yeah.
When we have to start from your home or from your city limit? From your city limit. Okay, which city that, let's say, if I live in Lilburn, I have to start from Lilburn or I have to start from Atlanta?
From Metro Atlanta.
From Metro Atlanta. Why from Metro Atlanta? What do you think?
Because the county is in Metro Atlanta, the city is in Metro Atlanta.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as the people if you are in the Atlanta, as long as the people they don't consider you are a traveler, then you are still in the same city. Let's say if I'm going to Marietta, nobody consider me that I'm what? Traveler. Why? Because I'm the same city. It's a big city. Yes, I left Lilburn, and the distance between Lilburn and Marietta is more than 44 kilometers, more than that. But I'm what? I'm the city. The people, the Urf, they told me if am I travel? They said, no, you are not traveler, you are in the same city. Then when we have to start from the last point from the city where you live. Which city that we live in Atlanta? Let's say someone of Macon. The Metro Macon, the last city in Macon, then he has to start to calculate 44 kilometers. Another thing, we have like something, where exactly I have to pray short prayer? Is it directly after I left the limit of the city? Or there is another place that I have to start Qasr prayer? Or for the Rawza, I have a permission to eat. The ulama, they said there is they called it Hadd al-Tarakhus. What's the meaning of Hadd al-Tarakhus? Hadd al-Tarakhus, that's mean the limit that you have a permission to pray short prayer or a permission to eat if you are in Rawda. For how long? That's mean distance between the city limit and this place. This Hadd al-Tarakhus are called it, the permission that you have to pray short or you have to break your fast. They said, the ulama, according to the riwayat of Ahlul Bayt, salamullah alayhim, they told us, that's mean if you cannot see the house by your eyes, I don't mean that mean right now the towers or all of these things, that's mean the homes. Or you cannot hear the adhan if someone call it. Or if you cannot see the people. And I think this means maybe after 3 miles, then after 3 miles when you are left,
From city limit to 3 miles.
yeah, after 3 miles, I think nobody can hear the adhan.
Yeah.
Then after 3 miles when you are leave your city, the limit of your city, in this place you have a permission to pray Qasr prayer and you have to break your fast. Do you have any question about all of these things or not?
So when does that 28-mile rule apply? The 44 kilometers one? That if you're going out?
Okay, that's mean 44 kilometers or 28 miles? Yeah. Does it mean it's just one way? The ulama, they said either one way or round trip. That's mean you are going 14 miles and coming back for 14 miles. One of another question. Let's say I'm going to Macon, like specific place. The distance that I start with from my limit city to the limit city of Macon or to the place where I'm going to. What do you think?
The place I'm going to.
Ahsan. That's mean, let's say I'm going to see my relative, he live in the middle of the city, in the downtown of city. Even if I reach the limit of the Macon city, I'm still on a trip till I reach what? The home of my relative. But when I'm coming back, when I reach the limit of my city, then the trip is what? It's end. Another question, I heard that a lot from like our people, those who are going overseas. In the airport, if someone who want to pray, you know that's the short prayer is just for Dhuhr and Asr and Asha. The Maghrib there is no what? Short prayer, you have to pray complete wherever you go. Then let's say if I want to pray Asha prayer in Atlanta airport, how I pray it, complete or short? Complete, why?
Because you are in the city.
Still I'm in the city. Even if I'm like, my intention is going overseas, but the airport is still in the same city, and the people, they don't consider me as traveler. I'm still in the same hometown. But let's say if the airport outside of my city, then I have to pray Qasr if the distance is more than 44 kilometers or 28 miles. One of the, you know that's mean short and Qasr prayer, it's not easy. It's complex mas'ala. I want to give the definition of the Kathir al-Safar. One of these things, they called it Kathir al-Safar. Inshallah, I will explain it. And another thing, we have to know one of the important...
Sorry, Maulana.
Yeah.
The Kathir al-Safar means frequent traveler.
Yeah, inshallah, I will explain it.
Yeah.
But before that, one of the important condition, one of the important introduction, before I explain what's the meaning of someone who is Kathir al-Safar. Do you know if you are in your trip, they called it Qabata al-Safar. That's been the place where where you are reached, you are not considered yourself as traveler. Let's say, one of these is the homeland. Our Atlanta is our homeland. Let's say if someone, he live in India and he reach India. India, the place that he was born in it. His parents there. And he's still in his intention to keep going to India, and he's not rejected. Maybe one time he's going what? To live in it. Then India, the place where he lived, we called it the second what? Homeland. For that, when he leave here, Atlanta is first homeland. Let's say India is where he lived, the second homeland. When he reached there, still he's in his homeland, then he has to pray what?
Full namaz.
Full namaz. Why?
This is the home motherland.
Because this is, the motherland. But if someone, he doesn't have any intention to go there, he removed that from his mind. And he decided to not go back to India, even like his children. Then when you are going to India, what you have to pray? Qasr. Why?
Because it's not a homeland.
Absolutely, that's when you are already left it. As long as you are keeping your intention that you are going one day to live in it, and you consider that place as your home mother, then you have to pray what? Yeah, full prayer. For that, when I'm going, let's say, I have 3 hometown, Atlanta. If I'm going to Baghdad, because there's the place where I was born, and my parents, they are there, and all my family. And I have in my intention, I have one day maybe I'm going there. Another homeland I have like Kufa, Najaf. Because the homeland, one of these things that's mean we have more than, according to the Sharia, there is more than hometown that we have. Let's say, one of these, the place where we born, the place where you are live. Let's say if someone he's going to, let's say someone he's going to India, or one of you he went to, he's going to Karbala or Najaf, and he lived there at least 6 months every year or 3 months every year. The people, they consider him as what? as one of those who live in it.
Resident.
As a resident. As long as he resident, even if he doesn't have anything there, even if he rent a home, but as long as he is frequently going to Karbala or going to Najaf and he live in it for 6 months and more, then it will be what? Full namaz. Another thing the ulama they said, but this is not, some ulama they accepted, some ulama is not. If someone he has home or he own an apartment in any place and he live in that apartment for 6 months, directly 6 months, and then he left it, they call this apartment according to Sharia it's look like what?
Resident.
Then he have to pray what?
Full.
For Sistani, he doesn't have that. Even if you have a home, even you are living in 6 months, but as long as the people that are not consider you as a resident, then you don't need. For Sayyid Khoi, yes. One of the important things for the Kathir al-Safar, what the definition exactly for Kathir al-Safar according to Sayyid Sistani Hafidhahullah. I want to read it. I want to read the mas'ala, exactly what he said. He said, a person considered a frequent traveler, kathir al-safar, if he frequently travels for work or other consistent purpose, such that he is commonly recognized as one who travels a lot and has a fixed residence, a hometown to which he returns regularly. That's mean for those who are homeless, we are not consider them what? Kathir al-Safar. Why? Because he doesn't have what? A home in any place. Then this is different. The condition of to be considered as frequent traveler, Kathir al-Safar. First of all, if the person travels 10 days or more in a month, or travel 3 days or more per week, and this pattern continues for 6 consecutive months in a single year, or 3 months in 2 consecutive years, then either 10 days or more in a month, or 3 days per week in 6 months. 6 months, that's mean straight, or 3 months in 2 years. Your intention is what? To continue. And I think nobody from like Jaffari Center, he has like consider himself as what?
So-
Kathir Safar. They are coming just for Muharram.
Yeah, so if
And
they just
for
come
the
12 days straight in the Muharram, they're not going to consider the,
Absolutely.
they're not going to do the full namaz here, right?
Absolutely. Where?
Not even during the Muharram?
Even Muharram.
Yeah.
Even if they spend the whole Muharram, as long as they don't make intention to live in it, iqamah, to be resident for 10 days or more, then they have to pray short prayer. Even if they stayed for the whole month of Ramadan and the whole month of Muharram, then they are not considered themselves what? Kathir al-Safar.
Can you tell me to elaborate it?
Let
So-
me explain
so-
something, one of the important things. You still, that's mean you still Kathir Safar, but sometime there is, let me explain this mas'ala because this mas'ala is very important. If someone, let's say for the student, one of our students, he lived what? Here. Or one of you, he has like business outside his city. And he's going every year, every days. And he stayed for how many hours? At least 8 hours and more for the student. At least 8 hours and more every day for 5 days in a week. And he's coming back to his home. if his intention to stay in his college for 4 years, we are not considers him as kathir al-safar. Why? Because they told the ulama, they said, because he spent 8 hours every day in the same place, then this place, it called it resident there. Yeah, that's mean maqar. That mean he stay there as a maqar, as a resident there. Then what he will do, he has to pray complete prayer in his home. He has to pray complete prayer in his college or in his business that he is going every day for 8 hours and more for 2 or 3 or 4 years. That's mean for 4 years and more. Then he has to pray complete in his way. If there is more than 44 kilometers and he wants to pray, then he has to pray Qasr. But when he reaches there, he has to pray complete prayer. And when he's coming back, he has to pray complete prayer. If he's going to another trip, let's say if he's going to another place, then he has to pray short prayer if he is like his trip is more than 44 kilometers. But for those, let's say, for those who are, as I explain it, if someone, he is going 10 days in a month for 6 months in a year, his intention to continue to go 6 months in a year or 3 months in 2 years. He has intention and insists to go there, let's say for 3 or 4 or 5 hours and coming back. And it's not considered him as what? A resident in his place. Then in this case, we called him what? Kathir al-safar, frequently traveler. Then he has to pray complete prayer wherever he go, and he has to keep his fast wherever he go. For those whose job is like bus driver, then his job is what? Then he has to pray what? Full, wherever he's going. The pilot. Yeah, he has to pray full.
But if you go just one destination,
Even if he's going, yeah. Because he's not at the same place, does not look like the student. Because his job is a traveler. The captain of the ship, the same thing.
So the consulting job that our young youth are doing it right now, they're just going to, one day they go to Atlanta, one day they go to the Minneapolis, one day they go to Tennessee, like, all different cities, at least 5 days a week. So they are considered Qasr al-safar?
Yes. This is another question. Let's say if someone he's at least he's going for 5 trips in a week in different places, and he still keep going for 1 year or more than that, then we called him Kathir al-safar. That's mean the people, they consider him what? As Kathir al-safar, and then he has to pray complete prayer wherever he go.
does that thing starts after 1 year?
At least 6 months and more.
After 6 months, he starts praying
Yes.
full?
And one of the important things you have to know, for the one who is, let's say, if you have a contract to go in another place, and the contract is more than 2 years, and you have to keep going for that place every, let's say, 10 times in a month for 2 years, that's when you will be what? Kathir al-safar. They said, when we have to consider yourself as frequently traveler, from the first week or from where? From when? They said for 3 weeks, for the first 3 weeks, you have to combine between ihtiyat, that's mean, you know the meaning of ihtiyat? Yeah, that's mean obligatory precaution. You have to pray full and short prayer for the first 3 weeks. After the first 3 weeks, then you have to start to pray complete prayer wherever you go.
Should we ask the questions? Yeah, I got a question. Go ahead. Hold on. Yeah, say it in the mic.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi.
Alaykum assalam.
So you put an emphasis on 8 hours when you're traveling, and is that for even for 6 months when you're there for 10 days a month? Is that still, is there a specific reason you said 8 hours or more? Or if I'm coming here for 4 hours? And
Yeah,
going,
even 4 hours.
Okay.
That's when they
As
consider
long as you're
just-
traveling there.
Yeah, as long as you are travel, let's say even if you are going for 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour, but the people that are not considered you as what? As a resident, then in this case you are kathir safar. If your trip is 10 times in a month for 6 months.
And even if then, at that time, if it's less than 8 hours or 2 hours, 3 hours, it doesn't matter,
It doesn't
right?
matter, even if
Okay.
1 hour. Because the hours that you are spend it in the other place, and especially if you are going frequently to the same place, with the time they considers you as what? A resident. Then you have to pray complete prayer here and complete prayer what? There. Then for that you have to be careful. And one of the important things, brother, this is general rule. But for everyone, he has different situation. If someone he want to know exactly what's his what he has to do, then he has to explain his situation to give him the right answer. Don't think that all of you they are applied in the same rule. This is just in general. This is I want to explain who is the kathir safar. For that you can know yourself if you are kathir safar or not.
You understood yours. Anybody else has?
Okay. Maulana Sahab, he just bought the house 2 months ago in outside of Atlanta, which is the city limit of Atlanta. But he came to Muharram 10 times or more than 10 times, a month. So, and couple months ago, he was doing the same thing. He was coming 5, 6, 7 times a month.
Then it's not kathir.
So he's not considered sufferer.
No.
He had to pay Qasr prayer.
Yes.
After 6 months, he would be like, he had
After
to,
6 months, if he is coming to Jaffari Center 10 times in a month, and his intention to continue that routine for at least 6 months.
yeah, but he live in his original house in South Carolina. But he just bought the house near Mall of Georgia. Secondary
Ah.
home in Georgia.
That's when the second home.
Second home, yes.
Yeah, that's when you are reach your home. Then they are not kathir safar.
So he had to pay
He
a
has to
full
pray
prayer.
complete. He has to pray complete if you are living the second home.
No, he doesn't live inside.
I just don't live there, but I just stay there sometime, every other night.
Then you're still in North Carolina.
South Carolina.
Still in South Carolina. Then whenever you are coming here, you have to pray short. Unless if you are unless if you are living this house.
I live in both houses though. Both is in my name. Last night I was there. Yeah, I
No,
come there
that's
10 times
mean
a
they consider, okay, the people, they consider you as a resident in Atlanta or South Carolina.
month. Resident in South Carolina.
That's mean you are in South Carolina. That's mean the second home is not your home. Unless if you are coming back and you consider this place as your home. That's mean you live in it at least 6 months or more. Then this case, yes, 6 months, 6 months or more. Then in this case, it will be, that's mean your home and you have to pray complete prayer.
Last 10 days I was here, so I was just praying full. So this, I have to do it again, I guess.
Yes. Do you know, brother, that's mean each, as long as you are still in South Carolina, and your address in South Carolina, and you are living in South Carolina,
This is my primary home in South Carolina. I just bought a house.
yeah, that's mean they are not consider you as a resident in Atlanta. As long as they are not considered you as a resident in Atlanta, then you have to pray short prayer. Let's say I have a home in Karbala, and I'm going to Karbala whenever I'm going to Iraq. At least I live in Karbala for 2-3 days, sometime on Muharram, more than 10 days. But I still pray short there. I have a home, I live in it, and I'm coming back, but I'm not considers myself as a resident, and the people that are knew me that I'm traveler, I'm just going for 2, 3, 5 days and I leave, then it's short prayer. When I'm going to Karbala, it's short prayer. But when I'm going to Najaf or Baghdad, I have to pray complete prayer.
Assalamu alaikum, Maulana. The 10-day rule, is it has to be continuous 10 days or any 10 days in a month to 6 months? So is it has to be continuous 10 days every month or?
Yeah, 10 days in a month.
Like
it
any
doesn't
10
matter.
days?
Yeah, it doesn't matter every.
So
day.
usually there's like at
And,
least.
and sometime, let me explain. It's not exact 10 days. Let's say in 1 month you are like travel for 9 days, but the second month 11, but not less than 7.
Okay. Because there's
If
usually
less than
functions.
7, then not.
There's
yeah.
always functions here at Jaffari Center, so at least there's at least 8 or 7 a month. Usually that we have
7th in a
count.
month, that's when you still not. Let's say if 1 month 7 and the other month 13, then in these 2 months, 10 in each month. If you are like, take the average. But less than 7, no.
Okay. How far is from your metro Atlanta to your house? Can you tell him that?
How far from your?
I live in Bremen.
So that's how far is from metro? When does the metro ends and your house?
I think it's probably from Metro Atlanta limit is about 25 miles.
No, that's it. Yeah.
It's by Carrollton, Georgia.
Yeah, Metro Atlanta, you can look at the map. Yeah, I think Kennesaw is still in Metro Atlanta.
One thing
I'm
I
not sure
suggest
about
is
it, but I
get
think
a
Kennesaw
Sheikh
is there.
Fauzi's number, and after the session you have confusion, make sure you call him personally and explain your situation so he can guide you better. Okay? Well, let me get it.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Simple question. Us growing up, when we were growing up, we were told, like, if I were to go to Dallas to do Muharram, 1 to 10,
Yeah.
even stay in the hotel, I need to pray full. Is that a myth?
Yes, if someone, this is another question. That's mean when we have to pray complete prayer while we are on the trip. If you are going, let's say, to Dallas or to Karbala and you want to stay for 10 days, then you have to pray full prayer.
Full.
But 10
Okay.
days, your intention is 10 days. That's mean even in hours. If less than 1 hour, then you cannot.
Perfect.
Yeah.
The second question, as you mentioned, for a student or somebody, you know, like they go to college for 4 years.
Yeah.
Well, some students only go, they start a college first year. But 2 years later, they decide from UGA to go to Oxford. So that's not 4 years. So,
You have someone less than 4 years, and he's going, let's say, for 6, 7 hours to his college and coming back, then he considers himself as Kathir al-Safar.
yeah, but I mean, their intention was to complete 4 years in UGA in Athens.
Okay.
But for some reason, 2 years down the road, they changed it and went to the Oxford, somewhere else.
As long as he is, like when he's going to the college, his intention to stay for 4 years. And he stayed there 5 days a week, 8 hours in a day. Then in this case, he deal with it as another resident. That's mean iqama. As long as that's mean, if he knew from the beginning that he want to stay 2 years, then this is different. If he knew 100% that he will stay for 2 years, then in this case he has to pray full prayer in the college and for 4 years at time. Yeah. Even let's say, let me give you an example. If someone has decided to go to Najaf and stay in Najaf for 10 days, and he is sure that he will stay in Najaf for what? 10 days. And he make the intention for 10 days, then he has to pray what? Full prayer. Let's say if he get emergency call and he has to leave, then he has, when he change his intention, he has to leave. But from the beginning, let's say if someone he want to go and he knew that he want to stay for 9 days, but he said, okay, let's say my intention, I want to stay inshallah 10 days. In this case, if you pray short prayer, that's when all his prayer what? Is void. As long as he knew that he will not finish 10 days. If less than 1 hour, he not consider himself that he will stay for 10 days. Yeah.
Between of that suffer, he cannot even go to the Karbala in this case.
He has to stay in the same place. As long as he break his resident, then he is in trouble.
So, the college, if someone has intention of staying away college for 1 year and come back, so, but they go to that college, they stay there in that college 5 days a week and 2 days home or something. So that first year, do they pray full or in like a other city, or do they pray the Qasr Namaz?
No, as long as he is going, we say that's mean if 1 year and he has like 10 trips for 6 months, then he has to pray full time wherever he go. Consider himself Kathir al-Safar.
Yeah, from the beginning,
Yeah. No, after 3 weeks.
after 3 weeks.
Yeah, for the first 3 weeks, he has to combine between short and qasr prayer every time. After 3 weeks, this is ihtiyat. After 3 weeks, that's when someone he can go to another alim to pray short or complete prayer.
Okay. And the person who is intent to stay
And then he has to pray complete prayer. Yeah.
from the beginning.
If someone, let's say if someone he is frequently traveler and he stayed in his home for maybe 2 or 4 or 6 months, for any case, then when he starts like to going to trip, what the first prayer that he has to do? Does he consider himself as Kathir Safar to pray complete prayer, or he have to start from the beginning? What do you think?
What was the question?
If someone he has Kathir Safar, and then in any case he stayed in his home for 2 or 4 months, and then he start again to going to trip. And the first trip, does he has to pray complete or short prayer?
I think short prayer.
Why?
Oh,
Because he is considered safar before,
Yeah, but he stayed in his home for more than 3 months.
so he's
Yeah,
out of the
yeah.
So you have to pay short.
He has to pray Qasr prayer until he consider himself again Kathir al-Safar.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, alaikum salam.
For Umrah and Hajj,
Uh-huh.
Masjid al-Haram has expanded quite a lot
Uh-huh.
now from hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
Does the boundary of Qasr apply to where the white marble is, or does the boundary of Qasr apply to where the walls of the Haram end or begin?
Yeah, this
And then what is the ruling for praying in your hotel versus there?
Yeah, there's a good question. That's mean there is some places, even if you are in trip, even if you are a traveler, you have to pray, you have option either to pray complete or short prayer, but it's better for you to pray complete prayer. What these places, one of these places is the Haram of Masjid al-Haram, that's mean Mecca. As long as you are living in Mecca, then it's better for you to pray what? Full prayer. Even if you in your hotel, it's better to pray what? Full prayer. But it's not, some ulama, do you know the new city around the Mecca? They have like, they are not, they said it's better to keep your prayer as short prayer. But for the old city, it's better for you to pray what? Full prayer. The second place is in Medina, the Masjid of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. It's the same rule. That's mean the old city, it's better for you to pray complete prayer. The other place, it's better because it's option. And the first primary rule is to pray short prayer. The ulama, they said, we are sure at the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And Ahlul Bayt, they pray complete prayer, and they ask the people to pray complete prayer when they reach the old city. Right now, the new city around Mecca or Medina, we are not sure about it. As long as it's optional, then the primary rule is what? Short prayer. Then it's better for you to pray short prayer in the new city around Mecca and Medina. But with the old city and Masjid al-Nabi and Masjid al-Haram, that's mean Mecca, you have to pray what? Full prayer. The third is Kufa, Masjid al-Kufa. It's better for you to pray full prayer. Masjid al-Kufa, it's not the city. The fourth place is Al-Ha'ir al-Husayni. When you are in Karbala, Imam al-Husayn's shrine, it's 25 meters from the shrine. More than that, it's better to pray short prayer. Because they called it Al-Ha'ir. You know the meaning of Al-Ha'ir? You know the meaning of Al-Ha'ir al-Husayni or not? Al-Ha'ir al-Husayni, when the Mutawakkil, he like damaged the shrine, damaged the grave, and he filled the water on it. And the water is circle on the shrine of Imam Hussein. They called this place, they called it Al-Ha'ir al-Husayni. Al-Ha'ir al-Husayni, that means the water is not reach the grave of Imam Hussein 25 meters from the shrine. Then the distance between the shrine and your prayer, if more than 25, is better to pray short prayer. If less, it's better. Yeah, but say Stani has a mas'ala, that's mean it's better to pray complete prayer as long as you are in the shrine of Imam al-Hussein salamullah alayhi. Then inshallah, when you will be there in Imam Hussein and you want to pray, you can pray complete prayer, full prayer. Okay.
Days. If I stay in Karbala more than 10 days, do I have to do full namaz, right? If I
No,
stay
you don't need.
Yeah, it's do I have ikhtiar to do Qasr?
Yeah, it's option. It's optional.
Okay.
That's mean if you make intention to stay there, then you have to pray full.
Yeah.
If you don't like to make the intention to stay, even if you are stayed for 15 days,
Yeah.
you have to pray Qasr prayer. It depends about your intention. Do you like to pray full? Then you have to make
So
intention to resident in the place for 10 days. Yeah, the problem to stay, like especially in Karbala or Najaf, the problem if you make your intention to stay in the place, that's when you cannot go anywhere and you have to stay in the same place for 10 days. And this, I think, is very difficult for someone who's going, what? To visit the shrine. Especially just for those who want to stay, let's say, the last 10 days of month of Ramadan, he would like to stay there. Then in this case, it's better for him to make the intention to not miss the, yeah.
If my zip code falls into the metro Atlanta, then I'm automatically into Atlanta, city of Atlanta, right?
Yes.
Okay, because when I was looking at the map, it wasn't showing my area, but when I Googled it, my zip code is falling to the metro Atlanta.
Okay, then you are living in Atlanta.
So that's, and then from there, my work is more than 30 minutes.
How many miles?
28, about 28 miles, or maybe a little over.
Outside the Metro Atlanta?
Yeah,
Okay.
from my home. And I do mostly every day or maybe 3-4 times a week. So he goes.
That's when in your job you have to pray complete prayer, and when you are going to home.
But
full
he's not Qatar suffer or anything, right?
No.
No, because he only goes to one place.
Yeah, just one place, and they called him as a resident in that place because he stayed for at least 8 hours
Right.
and more than, as long as you have this job, maybe 4-6 years or more than that.
So since he's just going one place for work, that's why it doesn't make him Qatar suffer?
No, it depends about the people if they consider him as a resident in that place. When he become a resident in that place, when he's going to spend 8 hours, at least 8 hours and more at that place every day for 5 days in a week, and he continue that for more than 4 years, then he has to pray complete prayer there and complete prayer.
If I don't put more than 8 hours now,
For how many hours? That's mean?
it depends. Some days 6, 5, 4, 2, doesn't, but less than 8 for sure.
But for how many years? That means you'll keep going to your.
I mean, for so many years, 15, 16 years.
Then in this case, the people, they consider you as a resident in that place.
Even if you go less than 8 hours.
Yeah. As long as you are keep going at the same place and for years,
But what?
then in this case, you will be as what? Do you know that's been, I have a schedule, inshallah. I will translate it in English and I will send it to you. How many hours that you have to spend in your job to deal with this job or to deal with this place as a resident.
So if what if he goes to Augusta or let's say Saudi?
He has to pray short to pray.
Yes, pray short. You got the answer? Okay. So because he had the same question, so that's why I just did it. Should I do these questions? Okay. So there were some written questions came. So it says, I live in South Carolina. We bought a second home in Atlanta, Georgia. And
we answered it already.
And we have a business income from Atlanta, and we travel second home weekly 2 or 3 times. We're cooking and sleeping overnight, stay sometime 2 days or more. Miles distance is 69 miles one way. What is the rule apply in my second home?
Yeah, that's been as long as it's not, they don't consider him as the second home, then he has to pray short prayer. But if he stay in that home for 6 months and more in a year, then in this case he has to pray complete prayer in the second home and complete prayer in the first home. But if he's going just for 2 or 3 days, and the people that are not consider him as a resident, then he is still a traveler. Then he has to pray short prayer.
We have a
It
question.
doesn't matter. Do you know? It doesn't matter that you are on the home. The important thing is how many days you will stay in that place. To own the home is not enough to consider yourself as a resident in that place.
Okay, so connected to that, because there are a lot of people have these questions. So a lot of people they live far away from Atlanta. They have a second home here in a metro Atlanta. So they come every now and then here, but some houses are closed. Some houses they just open it and stay and go. Some houses have their kids living there, because they go to college in Atlanta. So some houses have their kids living. So what are the difference? Are they both?
Do you know that's been one of the important messages? Let's say if someone he live in Atlanta. If someone he live in Atlanta for let's say years and he is resident in Atlanta, and later on he moved to another place, let's say in Macon or South Carolina or North Carolina or wherever he would like to go, but he still keep going to return back to what? Atlanta. Then Atlanta it will be what? His home. If he buy a home, he has to pray complete prayer in Atlanta and he has to pray complete prayer where he live. As long as his intention, that means he's going back to Atlanta to live in it.
So that's what he has the same thing. Same thing I have, right? Same thing. He used to live in Atlanta, but he moved to South Carolina.
But he's keep going to his intention is not to leave Atlanta forever. That's mean he has intention that he's coming back one day to Atlanta. In this case, they have to pray complete prayer in Atlanta and complete prayer and
Only 2 places.
Yes. And you have, as long as you are in Atlanta, that. But in your let me explain this masala. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alihi. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alihi. Let me explain that for you. Let's say if you have home in Atlanta and you have a home in South Carolina, in the month of Ramadan, if you leave your home in the morning, you have to break your fast, because you will your trip is more than 44 kilometers. Then you have to leave after Dhuhr. In this case, you can keep your rosa. In the way, if you want to pray, you have to pray short prayer. But when you reach the home, you have to pray complete prayer. That's when you have 2 homes. But this is for the one who's originally lived in Atlanta and he left Atlanta to another place, and his intention to keep Atlanta as a home for him.
So most people have that same scenario.
In this case, that's when they have to pray complete prayer in Atlanta and complete prayer where they live, as long as his intention to leave, as long as his intention is not to leave Atlanta forever. If his intention to leave Atlanta forever and he is not thinking to going back again, to coming back again, then he has to pray complete prayer there and he has to pray short prayer here.
So do these people have to have like a house over here?
No, it doesn't matter. It depends about your intention. Let's say if someone he has a home and he sold his home in Atlanta and he went to what? South Carolina. But his intention is not to leave Atlanta forever. He has intention to coming back again and he has to deal with Atlanta as what? His home. In this case, he has to pray complete prayer here and complete prayer in South Carolina.
But that's
Do you know? Yeah. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. I told you, brother, it's not easy. That's mean each person he has like different situation. I just give the definition of the frequently traveler, and the situation is different between the person and the other person. Then he has to explain exactly what's his situation and tell him if he will pray short or complete prayer. Look like this brother, when he told me the first time, I told him he has to pray short prayer, but when the new things is coming, then he has to pray complete prayer here and complete prayer there.
Okay, the next question comes, if the sister was, living in Atlanta for like since childhood,
okay,
and at the, she gets married, and she moves outside Atlanta. So is Atlanta still her home or no?
As long as she is not, like her intention is not to leave Atlanta forever, then she is like her home and she has to pray full prayer here.
So the intention is something that you already...
Like you want to come back to Atlanta? Is that type of...
Yes, that's when he does not leave it. It's look like us. We was born in Iraq or in India, and we came here, and we spent a lot of years here, but still we deal with the India or with the Iraq as what?
As our home.
Our home. Then, and we have in our intention, maybe one day we are going back there, and we are not rejected as not our home. In this case, I have to pray complete prayer.
So
the same thing.
When we moved, when we left Atlanta, we were young, and it was start of a new business, so we never had an intention to come back.
Yeah, that's when.
But now it could change.
When she recognized that she was born here or she was young here and she raised in Atlanta, and she recognized that one day she's going back, or like her parents live in Atlanta and she think to going back to Atlanta, then Atlanta, it will be her home, the first home.
The moment she makes that intention.
Yeah,
When it starts.
Yeah. Alaikum salam. But when she think to leave Atlanta forever, even when she is become adult, then in this case she has to pray Qasr prayer.
Until she decides that, okay, I might go back.
Absolutely.
So from that intention.
Yeah, it depends about that. Let's say my daughter, when we left Syria, she is like 2 years her age. Then when we came here, she raised in Atlanta. And when she knew that Syria is her home, and she has intention to go back, then when she's going to Syria, she has what? To pray. But she is already ignorant and she didn't think to go back. Then when you are going for ziyarah, she has to pray short prayer. It depends. The home of your parents, you have to consider it as your home. As long as you was born there and your parent or your relative that live in the same city, then it's your home. Until you are decided to not go back again anymore.
Until you decide to.
Then when you decided that I'm not going or think to live there, then when you are going there, you have to pray short prayer.
So what happened all these years? What happened all these years? They've been praying Qasr when we come here.
She has to pray Qasr prayer. If she are not decided, then she has to pray complete prayer. If she not decided, that means she's still the place where her parents born there.
Got you. Okay,
Yeah. whenever she became adult and decided to not go there, then she has to pray shorter prayer.
If somebody wants to live more than 10 days, then be full.
10 days in a month for 6 months, or 3 to 4 days in a week for, kathir al-safar. Yeah, but I explained there is a lot of details about kathir al-safar. It's not easy for someone, Huh? Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it's not easy. That means someone consider himself kathir al-safar until he know the rule and his situation. In this case, then he has to pray, complete prayer wherever he go. For that, I told them that's mean for each person there is a different situation according to the detail that he had. Yeah. Okay. Do you have any question?
There were some online questions I'm just asking. In this day and age, traveling 1.5 to 2 hours is considered norm. How are we supposed to figure out when namaz will be Qasr? Because sometimes 25 miles takes 30 minutes and sometimes it takes an hour and a half. So I guess.
That's when he is going to. Yeah.
So basically they're saying how do we determine that it is Qasr or it is regular?
I think the question
That's when if his trip more than 44 kilometers, even in his way, when he reach, I called you the permission limit, then he has to pray what? Qasr prayer, as long as his intention to go to another place and the distance between the limit of his city where he live till that place more than 44 kilometers, it's 28 miles.
28 miles.
Yeah.
Gotcha. What is considered frequent? I mean, I think it's. I know the answers of it, but I'm just going to read it because so that way it gets answered. What is considered frequent traveler? Example: during Ramadan, people who live outside of Metro Atlanta visit Jaffari every Saturday. So do they have to do Qasr namaz during Ramadan at Jaffari?
Yes.
Yes, Qasr namaz.
Because the definition of the frequent travel is not applied for them. That means it's different. If just in the month of Ramadan, let's say if the whole month of Ramadan they are coming for Jaffari Center, but still is not 10 days in a month for 6 months. If they spend the whole month, still they are not kathir al-safar.
Another question was, please can you ask Maulana to explain how to properly pray Qasr namaz in Jamaat, as many people do not know the proper rules and maybe are still praying wrong. Also, please explain that in Jamaat, Johar, Asr, we are only supposed to listen to surahs, even though we cannot hear. Some ladies are still reciting along with Maulana or Apa.
No, brother, as long as you pray Jamaat prayer, you cannot recite with the Maulana. When you are reciting the Maulana, especially the surahs, the Quran, that's when you are praying single, it's not congregation prayer. Unless if your recitation is better than Maulana. If your recitation is better than Maulana, then it's not acceptable to follow him. Then you have to recite the surah by yourself. You are follow him in action, but you have to do everything by yourself. And this is usually what we did every time when we are going for Mecca and Medina, and we are praying congregation prayer behind them. Because we believe that the Imam in Medina or Mecca is not just person. The majority of them are Wahhabis, Nawasib. Then what we will do for the unity of the Muslims, we pray congregation, but our intention is single. Our action is with them, but we have to recite everything by ourselves. Then if someone, his reciter, that's mean for Quran is better than Maulana, it's not acceptable for him to follow him. Then he has to repeat everything. He has to recite by himself. But for the action, for unity, he has to follow him.
If someone lives just 1 mile outside of Metro Atlanta.
If someone lives just 1 mile or 2 miles outside of Metro Atlanta,
then he is not in Atlanta.
Then he's what?
Not resident in Atlanta.
So he comes when
He's
he
from
comes.
the other city.
So
The-
when he
the
comes to
city.
Atlanta, what does he do? He pray Qasr.
Depend about the place where he is going.
Let's say he comes to Jaffari, like 50 miles down.
Yeah, that's when he has to pray Qasr.
He has to pray Qasr. But if he's within that 28-mile range, then he pray full.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Is it 28 miles or 44 miles?
That's mean round the trip. That's mean 14 miles. Hamad, 14 miles. Because round the trip 28. If one way 28 or round trip 28, that's mean 14 and 14 coming back.
His question was, he lives 1 mile away from Atlanta.
Yeah,
So that means
that's when he's still.
14 miles, now, right?
Yes.
But it's only till 14 miles you have to pray full. After that you pray Qasr. That's what he's saying.
Coming to Jaffari is gonna be.
It depends where you are going in Atlanta. Let's say if you are going to like such places less than 6 miles.
So it's not a Metro Atlanta
Ye-
radius then?
Yeah. He's as long as 1 mile from the Metro Atlanta, then he's not in Atlanta. Let's say if he's going to some place and the distance between his limit city to that place, let's say 6 miles, then he has to pray full prayer. But if it's 14 miles, from the limit of his city where he lives, then in this case he has to pray shorter prayer.
What is the ruling on Namaz al-Qasr? I've been hearing so many different views about Sistani. What is the ruling or real ruling on, because some people believe it's not it's not proven Namaz al-Qasr. The Nia should be what, Namaz al-Mayyat or Namaz al-Qasr? Or just pay the sadaqah. Which is which one is
That's-
priority? Because
The,
it's confusion.
I didn't hear one.
He's trying to say is the namaz Wesat
No,
is
Namaz
that-
al the cover,
Uh-huh.
I just want to know the ruling of the Ayatollah Sistani.
For the namaz of
What is the ruling of Namaz Vashatul Qabr according to Ayatollah Sistani?
yeah, namaz al-wahsha.
Vashat.
Yeah. That first night. Yeah, it's strong recommend, and this is the best gift for the dead, person. The
But his question is, what should be the niyyah? Is that your question?
yeah, salat al-wahsha qurbatan ila Allah ta'ala. The niyat
Is protect from Wahsat or Namaz
namaz wahshat qurbatan ila Allah ta'ala. Yeah. And when you are finished, you have to say that's when I will send the reward of my prayer to, and you have to mention the name of the dead person. After you are finished it, just say I send the reward of what I pray for the soul of that person.
And that Namaz Vashat, the question was, I know you have to do Furada, of course.
Yes.
But can we pray like somebody don't know Ayatul Kursi, so you can pray with Maulana loudly?
You can follow him. You can follow him. That's mean it's not Jama'at prayer.
But it's not Jamaat.
That means each person has to pray, to repeat after Maulana.
But it feels like a Jamaat.
No, it's not Jama'at. You are
During
follow.
the Ramadan, there's a lot of secret people that goes out. Then when we do the Namaz al-Wasat, when they try to goes on the ruku, they try to join it, they conquer their prayer.
No,
It's
no,
happening so many
That
times.
is wrong.
no. That's not right. Yeah, that's not right. For someone he has to pray. Let me explain something. For someone he want to pray congregation prayer, while he has to pray short, and Maulana he has to pray complete. Then this case, he follow the Maulana with the first rak'ah and second rak'ah. When Maulana he make the tashahhud, he has to finish his prayer till taslim. And then he can, if he would like to, do the second prayer, if Maulana, let's say in Dhuhr prayer, he's already with the first 2 rak'ah, he's finished what? Dhuhr prayer. He can follow Maulana even if Maulana in ruku'. Then he get the first rak'ah of Asr prayer. When the Maulana finished, he finished the Asr prayer.
Yeah. Okay, Maulana, the people live in Athens, right? You know the Athens. where
Athens
it
is, yeah.
Yeah. So Athens is Qasr, right?
Yes,
Since
Qasr.
it's far, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're asking like when they want to come to Atlanta in the month of Ramadan, do they have to stay in the boundary of Athens and leave after Zohar, or
Yes.
what's the ruling?
Yes, after.
Yeah. 'Cause that was a question in this, so I'm just following up. So you have to stay in the boundary, and when the Zohar gets
Yes.
azan done, then you can
Yeah,
leave.
yeah.
You can leave. The second question is, I'm sorry. Even
And they have to go back to Athens at night, or if they want to stay in Atlanta, they have to be in Athens before the prayer, but their intention from the Fajr prayer till they reach there, it's not fasting day. Their intention is not Saum, it's not fasting. They are like a normal. That's mean it's look like a normal people. But if they don't eat anything, till they reach Athens before the prayer, then they have to renew their intention. They said, I fast this day in the month of Ramadan. But he has option. If he want to eat, then that's it. He can fast another day. The important thing is that his intention is not fasting from Fajr till when he reached the Athens. If he want to stay till Fajr prayer or after Fajr prayer.
So Maulana, just a follow-up question on that. Let's say somebody lives in South Carolina and they have a second residence in Atlanta. They're both residents. Can they fast in South Carolina and then travel down to Atlanta throughout the day while they're fasting?
Yes,
Because
they can. If he want to stay for 2 or 3 days in Atlanta, he can fast because it's still his home.
no, but let's say if they're started their fast in South Carolina.
Start the fast in South Carolina.
And then they travel to Atlanta.
Travel when?
Before Johar.
Before Johar, then he has to break his fast when he reaches the Hadd al-Tarakhus.
Okay.
But when he left after Dhuhr prayer and he reached Atlanta, then he's keep his fasting. Then if you want to stay for 2-3 days, that's when he has to fast. And when he leave Atlanta, he has to leave after Dhuhr. Or they have to leave before Dhuhr prayer. If someone, let's say he want to leave South Carolina or Atlanta before Dhuhr prayer, his intention is not fasting. His intention is going just for a trip. When he will reach Atlanta, or when he reach Athens before the prayer, then he can make intention to fast that day. If he reach Athens or Atlanta after the prayer, then even if he keep fasting, he has to repeat it. He has to do it again.
Okay. So the other question I have is, my wife, her family lives in Atlanta. She's with me in Athens, and she asking question as far as, does she consider her parents' house her second residence here?
Yes. As long as she live with her family and her parents is still there, and he has intention to coming back, and she deal with the Atlanta as.
So I guess when we talk about intention, I get everybody in the Mu'min Jamaat has intention one time or another to move down to closer to Jaffari, right?
As long as their intention is not to leave Atlanta forever, and she was born here or her parent there, and she lived in Atlanta for a long time, then when she moved there, as long as her intention is to keep coming back, then she deal with Atlanta as second home.
So I guess, okay, I have another follow-up question. When she married, she used to live in Rome, Georgia.
Okay.
But her in-laws, her family now lives in Atlanta.
Okay.
Right? So now what does she consider? Does she consider Atlanta? I'm just a messenger.
With your permission.
Yeah, brother, let me explain.
Maulana, with your
Whoever has a question, let him ask me directly, then I can
So
answer.
can we pass your number? Is it okay? Bilal was asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Sure.
okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Going back to that question of how to pray Qasr, or not how to pray. Well, the question was, yeah, how to pray and how to join the third and fourth rakat. They want to ask again, because we never mentioned third and a fourth rakat. So the second rakat of...
Then he has to finish his prayer.
When do they stand up from the second rakat? No.
He doesn't need to stand up.
I'm sorry, yeah.
His prayer is done.
Yeah, the prayer is done after second rakat, right?
Yeah.
On the third rakat, what do they do?
Nothing.
I know, but they
Nothing.
wanna know.
If
They
he
wanna know
wants,
from Maulana.
yeah, if he want to pray the second prayer for him, then he has to stand.
So if
he
I want
reach
to
Maul-
pray another 2 rakat of
For-
Fajr, Qaza Umri,
you can do that.
on a third rakat, I wait till Maulana goes to ruku and say my takbir,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
I
No,
must wait till
you
then,
don't
right?
need that. As long as you are reach Maulana with the ruku', you don't need to do anything. Then the first rak'ah is done for you.
Yes.
When you stand up, Maulana, he's in the fourth rak'ah, he has to say tasbih. For the one who follow him, he has to recite Surah Al-Hamd and Qul Huwallahu Ahad.
On the fourth one.
Yeah,
You-
it's not fourth. For him,
Fourth.
the second.
Yeah,
for
for
the
him is
traveler,
the
is
second,
For
for
the
Maulana is
Maulana, it's
second.
fourth.
Yeah.
For Maulana, he has to recite when he stand up tasbih. Subhanallah, alhamdulillah. For the one, the traveler, he has to recite Surah Al-Hamd and Surah Qul Huwallahu.
Both.
Yeah, both.
Must
Then
recite
he has,
both,
yeah,
and then do
he has
qunut.
to recite it fast to follow Maulana in ruku'.
Okay, and going back to the same, now the Maulana is finished with the fourth rakat. But I want to do, instead of 2, I want to do 3 or 4, Maghrib or Isha.
Yeah.
So when should I get up?
When Maulana, he said, Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillah salihin, he has to stand up.
After the first salam.
Because, yeah, Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillah salihin is the end of the prayer.
Okay, so
When
after
Maula-
the first salam.
Yeah,
Second salam. Okay.
When he says Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillah salihin, he has to stand up to bring the second or third rak'ah or whatever he would like.
Second salam. Okay, that was the question.
Maulana, some people go to Qabristan on Ashura. Is this some kind of recommendation or no?
Yeah,
Right?
whenever you can go, that's when it's better.
But there is nothing like the specific day on the day of Ashura
No,
you
it's
should
not
go or
makruh.
anything like that, right? Okay.
It's not, yeah.
Maulana,
It's
on
better
Namaz
to go
Vashat,
there.
I read somewhere that it is recommended to do sadaqah, and if you cannot do a sadaqah for the marhumin, then the Namaz Vashat is recommended. Is there something like that?
Yes, the best gift, first of all, sadaqah. While they bury him, you have to make intention to pay sadaqah on behalf of him. And then Salat al-Wahsh. But the majority of our people, they don't care about what? Sadaqah. They think that's mean wahsha. Yes, Salat al-Wahsha is strong recommendation, but sadaqah is more. Then while they are bury him, like his relative or someone who love him, his friend, his brother, his son, he has to make intention to pay sadaqah on behalf of the dead person. Okay, alhamdulillah rabbil alamin, because I have another, yeah.